Jeez, I could really hear my fan that much. My god, I apologize for that. If you do notice any technical errors happening about, you let me know. Um, should be fine. Should be fine. Although now I will say it's going to be a bit of a shame that I can't have my fan on. I'm going to be sweating like a pig. It's currently 102 degrees outside. That's Fahrenheit. If it was Celsius, I'm sure everybody would probably be dead, but, either way. I'll check the mic level real quick. That. Hello? How's that? Probably pretty good. Not bad at all. Maybe a little bit more. That's probably good there. Yep, most likely. Fantastic. So that's something I just noticed. If you try to go about through the menus, it actually tries to do it in the game as well. So if I press the PlayStation button, you probably can't see this, but as I try to check the mic inputs, it actually goes and will try to press the button in the game simultaneously. So I almost got booted out of the session there due to the game being a little silly. Check Greg. Hey man, let me tell you something. I can't wait. So this is probably going to be one of the only leagues that I do that I can guarantee is going to have more than like 15 drivers, man. I am so excited to be here. How many do we have today? I should be full 20, no? 1, 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Yeah, it says all the spots are full. That's going to be fantastic. I have been looking forward to this for some time as well, so we are doing amazing. Because let me tell you something, man. Towards the back end of F123 there, I had very little to no people showing up. We had, not in this league in particular, but in the other Thursday league I was doing, man, we were struggling. I think the last 2 rounds of the season, I just didn't even commentate because we had 10 guys or less. It was just so heartbreaking, actually, but, what are you going to do? Do I have a track map of Spa saved somewhere here in my phone? I should. It was one of the more recent streams I did was Spa. I don't suppose I'll need it, but let's see. That was France. That was before that. Okay, that's oddly enough the Shanghai layout that Formula E used. Why I had that, don't ask. But anyways, oh, there we go. That's a Spa layout. Perfect. I shouldn't need it, but I like to have it on hand when I do. Evening, lads. How we doing? How did the England fixture go today? I know that was a pretty big game. They were playing somebody or another. Well, they tied against Denmark. Okay. That's. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if Denmark is as good as a squad as as England. I don't know. 1-1 seems kind of. I'm not gonna say lackluster, but I don't know. It's tough to tell, really. I hear you guys really don't like Southgate anymore. Does he still coach the squad? I think if he does, because I remember there's a lot of there's a lot of questions on whether or not they should be keeping him in. But I mean, I don't know. This is a very odd time for football. It really is because nothing else is happening aside from Euros, which I obviously don't have any affiliation to because I'm American. But Copa America is going on, but that's like hardly even worth watching considering that we are an awful, awful team, America. But that's fine. Imagine if like AFCON was going on at the same time. I love AFCON because it's so funny. AFCON is probably aside from the World Cup, probably my favorite European, not European football tournament, just because of the memes that come out of it. It's fantastic. Oh, I don't like that at all. Why have they made Ferrari and the Haas the same color? Oh, that is awful. I hate to say it, that is preposterously bad. That. Good lord, I'm gonna shut the door real quick. Oh, it already is. All right, never mind. So now, not only do we have too many blue colors now, we also have more green, and now we have another red. So you're gonna look at. I'm gonna mess this up so many times, so that's okay. Tell you what, that Albania Croatia game yesterday was fantastic. That was a very fun game to watch. I gotta say, it's very difficult, like, enjoying the European side of sports as an American because, as it turns out, everything is in the middle of the day. You know what I mean? Like, today we had games go. That's the reason I didn't watch the England game because I was on my way here to my grandmother's house. I can't obviously watch as I drive. And everything is either, like, just very inconvenient times of the day. Let's be real. Like the F1 races are fine because 9 a.m. albeit it's on a Sunday, Saturday and Sunday. That's okay. But like with the Euros, man, I don't think I've watched like more than 2 games, and I really don't like that because I love, obviously football, but that's another reason why I can't do Sunday anymore because it's 3:30 in the afternoon. I don't have anything going on Thursdays for the time being. But Sundays is booked now, and that's why I'm here today. But either way, I just realized that means in a couple of weeks' time I'm gonna have 2 casts on a Thursday. I don't think I've never had a time where I've had to do 2 casts before on the same day. It's gonna be fun. Voice chat's been suspended. Okay. Am I in the party by myself? I just want to make sure again because I've done that before where I've been commentating, but I'm in game chat and not actually the the party chat where I should be. Oh, don't break things. It's a very narrow desk. Alright, so I've used all the plugs on that particular uh thing. But, anyways. Hey man, though, Jag Greg saying we got a full grid on for us tonight. That's gonna be fantastic, man. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Spain and Italy are going on at the moment. We got 0-0, 28th minute. Huh. Okay, but the fact that the Belgians at the moment are not like in the top two in Group E is a little surprising. Because Romania and Slovakia do not strike me as football powerhouses that could beat Belgium. Belgium for the longest time was like one of the best teams in the world, and then they just chose never to win a World Cup, which I am very upset about because I liked that Belgian squad a lot. They had some fantastic players. You got to think they had Romelu Lukaku, they had both the Hazards, they had Aiden and Torgan Hazard. They had Dries Mertens. Oh, dude, Dries Mertens was the best. Um, God forbid they had Marouane Fellaini. They had Kevin De Bruyne, naturally. Thibaut Courtois in goal. It's a shame that team never won anything because that squad had the potential to be one of the best international teams of all time, but they didn't. Shouldn't be too far away from go time now. Just waiting on a couple of people to join. Who are we missing here? We've got who do we have? We have all but a Ferrari and an Aston. Just make sure my microphone is on the right input and everything. Yep. If you hear that, that means we're good to go. Oh. Still just waiting on a couple more, and then we'll be probably ready to go. I don't know if I like this soundtrack on this game. I thought the last one was very, very good. Of all the negative things I've said about F123, their soundtrack was phenomenal. This one's very... I mean, I don't know. It'll probably grow on me. It's like buying the new FIFA game every year. You're just gonna have a soundtrack and you're not gonna know what to do with yourself, and then you're gonna be fine. So, I'm assuming that's probably what's gonna happen. But we are, hopefully, just a couple of minutes away here from getting ready to go. We're missing out on 2 drivers, one of which being a Ferrari and the other which being a Aston Martin. Hey, Maple Ace, glad to see you back here. Appreciate it. Very happy to be back. I have absolutely loved casting this league over the past season. That was very, very fun for me. Although this is one of the only casts you're going to get live, but, you know, it'll be alright. You'll get it. I promise you that. I can't promise live broadcasts. I can promise them being existent. I can promise them being damn good as well. Well, I try my best, but, you know. Still just waiting for at least 2 people here. Who those 2 people are, I have no idea. I only know maybe... Okay, we have gotten the signal to ready up. Will we be back on Sundays as well? No, I am no longer able to commit on Sundays, but for the time being, Thursdays, give or take 1 or 2, I will be good to go. And I say give or take because I actually have no idea for the time being, but I do know that Sundays are not going to do not work for the time being. But these, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be here as much as I can, that's for sure. But as I was saying, I know maybe only 5 or 6 of these guys the most. Like Mikey, I've never heard of. Mr. C. Rees, I've never heard of. Adonis and ARD. Heliana, I think I may have heard of him. Doug, I've never heard of. Shabs, I've never heard of. Lord Alum, I think maybe once or twice. Golden Wolf, never heard of. Lewis, never heard of. Smale, I've heard of. Lil Jim, never. Savvy, never. Parker, never. Spider, probably, I think. Justerini, yep. And then Ali, I've heard of. Greg, and then Dunda. Yeah, we got a lot of new faces here. It's going to be fantastic. I'm going to start the hard recording. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the first round of the JAG Thursday Championship here at the Circuit Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. Should be a fantastic race we've got for you today. On the new game as well, F124. I have yet to see a competitive race on this game. I've only played it a handful of minutes. I really don't know much about how these cars handle, aside from they're a little twitchy, is from what I've picked up, but should be very, very fun. At a track, no less, one of the most infamous, challenging, daredevil-ish circuits in the world that really puts people on edge every time they drive here. And I tell you what, from the commentary box perspective, this is fantastic. From actually driving it, especially if there's any weather involved, like there's a very good chance we could have, yeah, not fun. But anyways, 18 on the grid. We will be getting at least 1 or 2 more joining in qualies from, is what I've kind of picked up on here. But we'll, for the time being, while we've got a second, let's go ahead and give you the tour of the rest of the calendar for this season. Should be fantastic. Season 7 as well. And it looks like a halfway decently nice day. Oh, I can hear my uncle upstairs. Fantastic. So, obviously, round 1 tonight in Spa. We've got the Red Bull Ring next time out on June 27th. That should be a fun one. We've got for you a sprint round. Round 3 in Japan, Suzuka. That might be an interesting one. I do like Suzuka. It's very fun to commentate on. It's a track that I find really difficult to drive on. I was never very good there. But, yeah, either way, very fun. Silverstone. Round 4, the Netherlands in round 5. Go to Mexico for a 100% distance Grand Prix for round number 6. That should be wild, as it turns out. CRL Spider's going to be your first driver out on track, and look how, goodness me, that looks fantastic out on track. That V-Carb livery has to be said. And it was round 6 Mexico. It's a 100% distance race. Double points up for grabs as well. We go to Singapore for round 7, Montreal, Quebec, Canada. I consider my home track, even though I'm American, it is only about 3-4 hours away. For round number 8, we got a reverse sprint race. Round 9 at Monza. And the final 2 rounds of the season, Qatar, round 10, and then Saudi Arabia, the Jeddah Corniche circuit to round out the season. That should be a fantastic finale, that. That Jeddah Corniche circuit, man, very difficult, but always a good time. And I'm just kind of trying to twist some cords here to not unplug anything. But anyways, yes. So here we are. F124. Hopefully the kind of renaissance of F1 gaming, especially these games after the travesty of a game that F123 was. But I have heard that people don't like this one as much. I think in the little that I've played it, I don't know if it's any more realistic or not. I feel like any sort of little twitchy movement of a steering wheel turns out in being a full-on turn. And I think, is that probably realistic to a real F1 car? I would think so. Considering how much downforce and the speed that these cars are going at, I would think any little twist of the steering wheel is enough to send a car going for a loop. So maybe that's realistic. I don't know. It's tough to tell. But what isn't tough to tell is first out on track here is going to be that of CRL Spiders. Makes his way into La Source. Very tight corner. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't notice that. All on the outside of La Source there has become gravel. That is usually a hot spot, pun intended, for carnage on that opening lap to be going through that gravel. Up through Al Rouge and Radion now, which has undergone some changes there. That barrier on the inside has been moved back, thankfully, because that was always a mess. DRS activated here down the Kemmel Straight, heading into Lacombe and Malmedy after that. Bit of a lock up there on the way into the corner, but nothing worth complaining about through. What is this? This is Malmedy now, and then down the hill into Brussels. If you ask me, one of the more difficult turns in this circuit. It's very kind of weird one to wrap your head around, and even then. Down the hill now through the double left to Puhan. Downhill, couple of corners. This where the track really starts to want to fall away from you on the outside. Tell you what, CRL Spider doing halfway decent here, but he's making his way now into Campus and Stabilo. Used to be on the exit of Stabilo here, there used to be a barrier right there that if you hit the outside curb, you're going head on to that barrier that was jutting to the outside. As you go through Blanchimont now, as, well, CRL Spider's already used the entirety of his deployment. That might be something to look out for here. Of course, now, as in this game, when you are just not even in the qualifying session, but the race as well, you do have a couple of more ERS modes to use. You've got the regular deployment like this, which would be the hot lap setting. 146, 256, that's not going to be pole position, I don't think, as Dunat has gone 1-4... Goodness me. Ali's gone 144.078. Next up to the line after him, the Red Bull driver, I think of... Well, who was that? I'm not too sure. Savvy's just gone third. Next up out of the corner is one of the Aston Martin drivers. I believe it is that of... Well, I was going to say there is only one of the Aston Martin drivers. He's on his way into the pit lane, funny enough. Lord Allen has gone second. Good lap from him, but Ali's gone 144.078 for so far. Provisional pole position. There you can see there on the telemetry on the bottom of your screen, it does say a difference between hot lap, none, overtake, or medium, and then when you press overtake, it goes to the overtake button, then obviously none. So you can kind of conserve that battery and use it in different ways, much more than you previously could. They've also got the engine modes back as well. You can, you know, how, I believe it's the fuel mixture you can mess around with now. That used to be a fun one to kind of try to get on with as you go into the corners, going it down into, you know, the lean setting, and then on the way out, you put it back up to the rich fuel mixture. That sometimes got fun. Strategical. The Haas of Jag Greg has gone 142.644. Currently has provisional pole by just about 6.5 tenths of a second. Lewis is third. Adonis being the Mercedes, that's second at the moment. Next up, we do have, I believe it's going to be that of Parker in the V-Carb making his way. No, he's only just beginning one now. Well, we've got nothing to do. Let's go along with Parker. We have a couple of more drivers coming around here shortly. But Parker making his way up through Rouge and Radion coming up here. Stays relatively flat out going through that. Looked very good. Going down the Kemmel Straight now. I'm going to take this time just for a second to lower the audio of the onboard, because it is slightly loud. I mean, all that's probably fine. No, Terran language, don't need to worry about any of that. Okay, maybe I can't specifically do that. Maybe it's just louder by default. Yeah, we'll put it... That's probably good there. Other cars will go to probably the 7 as well. Alright, fantastic. Maybe now is that less annoying. Yeah, much less annoying. Okay, that's perfect, because that, even to me, seemed quite loud to be having to talk over. Well, he's going to be making his way into Campus and Stavilo here shortly as Parker. He's going to be hitting that second sector timing line here right about now. 1:15.625. I think that's probably pretty good. I'm not sure. But what isn't good is the fact that he's just binned that one getting back onto the throttle. Bit of an unfortunate turn of events for him there. And unfortunately, this lap is not going to count for anything for the V-carb of Parker. Do have coming around the line now. I believe it's going to be, well, either of the McLarens in the pit lane. We do have a Ferrari. Starting one now is Doug. Starting a new timed lap here. Next up around the line, we have one of the Mercedes drivers, I believe. I believe it's going to be that of Hellion coming round. To start one. Oh, but has something happened with him? Looks awful slow there coming out of the corner. No, that's not him. That's his teammate, actually, of Adonis. What's gone on there? Oh, this is interesting. So Adonis has, yep, now been disqualified from the session from going the wrong way. I was about to say, I think he wanted to go into the pit lane and then missed it or spun past it. I'm not rightly sure what's going on there with Adonis, but either way, his day's going to come to an end. Well, his qualifying session, not his total day, but you know what I mean. That is a very unfortunate turn of events there, just when we were getting along with his teammate here, who is just starting now. 8-time lap attempt is this of Hellion. He's making his way out of La Source, heading up towards Rouge and Radion. Giustarini's gone third, actually. Not all that far off. Can we look at, actually, that lap? Yes, it's a 1:42. 8:42, so he's behind now, as he's just only crossed the line by about 0.2 of a second. Very good. Very close between the top two for the time being. Everybody else, well, I would expect they've only probably put in one timed lap for the time being. And a lot of these drivers will use these initial offerings here as more reconnaissance laps to get their car, you know, up to snuff setup-wise and, you know, getting to grips with how the circuit is reacting to them. So if you see some of these drivers, you know, currently being a second and a half off, I wouldn't worry about that. They're going to be back here very shortly. For the time being, though, Giustarini has gone within 0.2 of Jag Greg, who, since he's put in that initial timed attempt, has not been knocked off that top spot, so to say. So he's done very well for the time being. We do now have, I believe that was the Williams of Savvy who crossed the line. He's gone 3 seconds-ish off the top spot. Next around the line is going to be one of the V-carbs. It's going to be that of Parker, who we saw on his previous offering coming out of Campus and Stavilo, actually lost the car to the inside of the circuit. So he's going to be starting a new one now. We got 8 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in this qualifying session here. Let's go along with Parker. Up through Rouge and Radion. Slight lift on the way up the hill. But other than that, I mean, calm as you'd like going up that hill. I had no wiggle whatsoever. Through Lacombe, going through Malmedy, and it'll go down through Brussels coming up next. Bit of a lockup on the way in, and here it is again, just the track trying to drop away from you on the outside there, and then going through Speaker's Corner. Up next, they've taken away all of that runoff there on the outside, replaced by gravel. Oftentimes we'd see drivers go a bit wide there, not anymore. Through the double left of Pouan, he's done well. Maybe a slight lift there on the way through. Yep, he's gone about half throttle. Downshifted to 7th. But I tell you what, the car looking very good for the time being. Looks very stable. Which sometimes drivers like, sometimes the drivers don't. He is half a second quicker through Sector 2. And this is where he lost the car last time round. But it looks for the time being he's got it okay. So he's going up through Blanchimont now. 7 minutes to go here. For a lap that I think has looked pretty good. I can't really... As this is his first representative lap, I can't tell where it is amongst the rest of the grid, but into the final chicane now. See how well he holds his on his way out. Yep, does pretty well. A little bit tentative to get on the throttle. He's actually gone fourth, 143.577. He's improved by a hell of a lot there. He goes within a second of our provisional pole time, which is interesting. One of the things I did notice, though, about this game is that when you are even getting back onto the throttle, it does not matter where you are on the throttle input. You are going to have a couple of snaps of oversteer, even up to probably fourth gear, really. These cars have gotten very difficult to drive. And oh, by the way, I'm on medium traction control. These cars are very snippy. So with about 6 minutes and 10 seconds to go now, Jag Greg's going to be the next driver to try to set a time to 10th. This may be one of his last. Again, this is a track that takes a minute 45 to get round. And if you're on an out lap and then an in lap after that, yeah, you're going to need to put these laps together very carefully here, because when you're getting down in the minutes like this, you won't have time to set your lap, have your in lap, refuel, back on the out lap, back on another time lap. That may not be able to happen if you've not allowed yourself enough time. I think Jag Greg has done just that, but he's going to leave it very close. This probably will be his final attempt of the session. Whether or not it is or isn't, we'll have to wait and see. But up the hill through El Rouge and Radion he goes. Tell you what, calm as you'd like through the uphill section of that track. That was actually fantastically taken there. Down the Kemmel straight now, heading into Lacombe. Clear track ahead of him, that's always important. 8/100ths quicker through Sector 1. Through Malmedy, holds it very well. Doesn't go nearly as wide as what we were seeing before. Took a little bit late into the braking zone there. Had to curb the car around a little bit. A little tricky coming off the curb, going into Speaker's Corner, but still holds it well. Through the double left at Puhan now. He's at least stayed in 8th gear throughout that corner. He's hardly lifted off the throttle either through that whole transition there. That was brilliantly taken. We do next up have coming around the line here one of the Alpine drivers. I believe it's Lil Jim coming through here. So he's 2.5 seconds, tenths of a second quicker through Sector 2 is that of Jag Greg. He's getting low on his deployment here, though, has to be said. As you can kind of see, he's going to be running out here in a second, and there it is. So now the question is, will he have enough momentum to really put together a good end of this lap? No, he's had a bit of a lockup on the back end there. He is going to try to see this lap out to its conclusion. Back on the throttle, he goes it across the line, and he does improve by, well, just about a tenth there. 142.523. Less than half a tenth, a tenth and a half quicker overall. He was, again, quicker by 2.5, 3 tenths of a second off of Sector 2, but he has lost that deployment. He's used it too generously there. Because sometimes what you'll see is this. You can be on the hot lap setting, but you can still use the overtake button as you would, you know, during the normal Grand Prix. That's what he's done. He down this Kemmel straight here, more specifically, as he had tried to come back around, he had pressed his overtake button, and the car had obviously used the deployment to try to boost you, but then he's lost it at the end of the lap. That's what's hurt Jag Greg there. Is the door open? Perhaps. So we've got Lewis on an out lap now. We've got the V-Carb behind him of CRL Spider, who currently resides 3.7 off the pace here, but as he goes down the Kemmel straight, look at him go. Did you see that? He's trying to take every inch of the circuit that he could. I just want to look at that again. Yep, he's nearly... Oh, that was a ridiculous turn of events. That he hasn't validated his lap. But I tell you what, he's really tried to cut the corners there. About 3 minutes remaining now. We've got one of the Aston Martins coming around the line. I believe is it that of Golden Wolf starting one. Golden Wolf currently 3.2 off Jag Greg's provisional pole time. Still 2 minutes and 45 remaining in the session. We do next up behind him have one of the Mercedes drivers. I believe it's Hellion. Adonis has obviously been disqualified from the session after having missed the pit lane. How he's done that is still a mystery to me. Whether he spun and the car's kind of rolled back past the pit lane exit, and then he's tried to go in reverse to back himself in front of the pit lane, has since been disqualified. That was how that went. 2.5 tenths of a second quicker for Golden Wolf going through Sector 1. But now this is the difficult part of the lap here. Everything else before that, light work. But as you go through Brussels here, through Speaker's Corner after that, and then Puhan, I mean, these couple of corners here are so difficult, and unless you're on your game, you're going to make a mistake. Down the hill he goes, holds his line very well, but he's gone into 6th gear there, and that's kind of the lowest through the gears that we've seen a driver go through that corner, but I think, honestly, it's looked better than what some of the other guys have been doing. 4 out of the top 5 drivers currently on outlaps now. Justerini, Lil Jim, Lewis, Parker, all on outlaps. Jag Greg, as you saw recently, just completed his, has a 0.3 of a second cushion over Justerini with 90 seconds remaining in this qualifying session. Golden Wolf's coming through Blanchimont now, heading into the final chicane here. There you can see he used his overtake button just slightly, and it's diminished the remainder of his deployment. Through the rest of the lap here, back on acceleration he goes. DRS activated and across the line for Golden Wolf. 145, 147. Improves by 5.5 of a second, but nothing other than that. We do have the stake now of Justerini making his way up through Eau Rouge and Radion. Let's see if he's able to, perhaps. Hold it. Oh, I tell you what, that car got a little squirrely that time. That was noticeably slower than that of at least Jag Greg, which we saw him. This may not be a better lap here from Justerini. Matter of fact, he is slower by nearly 0.2 of a second. And I think it was just going up through Eau Rouge and Radion that did it to him. That car looked very out of shape. Of course, it was in more subtle ways. You know, he wasn't able to stay on the throttle correctly. He wasn't able to keep the car, you know, pointed straight at the corner. Unless he's made a massive improvement here through Sector 2, it's going to be all over but the crying for the stake driver here of Justerini. Although I tell you what, 0.3 of a second off from the time that Jag Greg has put in, which was, by the way, very earlier on in the session as well. Yeah, doing pretty good here. Yeah, it's half a second slower. Not going to be an improvement from there. Lil Jim has actually gone 1/10.5 quicker through Sector 1. As we round out our final couple attempts here. We have Lewis, who's gone and invalidated that previous attempt. Ali, well, Justerini coming through now. He's not improved. We've got the Red Bull up next of Mikey. Coming around the final corner, half a second quicker through Sector 2. This might be a lap to look out for here. Perhaps going to get himself into the top 10. Top 5 even. We'll have to wait and see. So Mikey GTI coming around the final corner now. Back on the throttle he goes, a little bit squirrely, but across the line into 8th. 144.105, improves by 6.5 of a second. That's a good lap. We've got Smale coming up next. Smale's gone 4th, 143.360, improves by 7.5 of a second. We've got the Mercedes up next of Hellion, who's gone 12th. I believe was that after him the V-Carb of Parker, who's gone 6th. Justerini's retired. We got the pair of McLarens coming up next. Shabs to the line now, 11th. Lord Allam's gone 4th, actually. Great lap from him. As Lil Jim, top of the table, 142.435. Actually gets Jag Greg's time by less than 1/10 of a second. I think that may do it unless... Does the Red Bull have anything to say about it? And no, it'll be 10th place from him. And I think the Ferrari next up of Doug is on low fuel. Yes, he is. So, Lil Jim gets it at the death there. By less than 1/10 of a second over Jag Greg. Lil Jim, has to be said, rather came out of nowhere on that final attempt. He had not made any waves in that qualifying session up till that point. So, Lil Jim on what I would consider to be probably his one good attempt of the session gets some provisional pole. And Jag Greg misses out by less than a blink of an eye. Had a few ciders is not going to go well. I tell you what, I could go for a good cider at the moment. Hopefully now that we're getting into the afternoon hours, the sun will go down because it has been in the hundreds all day. So here we are then, Lil Jim, top of the table. Gets Jag Greg by less than 1/10 of a second. Justerini 3rd, Lord Allam 4th. 5th is Smale, goodness me. Lewis 6th, Parker 7th, Elite 8th. The pair of the Welsh on the 5th row. Mikey and Mr. C. Rees, 9th and 10th for the Red Bull team. Shabs 11th, Savvy 12th, 13th is Hellion, 14th, Golden Wolf. I was going to say row 7, it's Mercedes. Done to 15th, Doug 16th, 17th is Spider, 18th is Marcus. So a tenth of a second separate the top two in the qualifying session. Marcus Osetti. Well, I tell you what, should be a fantastic race this. And even better, doesn't appear that we've got any weather on the way. Should be a clear Grand Prix this, which, if you remember correctly, back in the old days of before 2021, we used to hope for the rain. We used to really, really wish that the rain was on its way because we would have these... I mean, it was a wrench thrown into the plans of everybody. Now, as it turns out, the racing is better when it's dry. So... say what that is as you will. Turn 1 gravel runoff, going to be carnage. Let me tell you something, that I think is a mistake, honestly. Because now you go off in that gravel, there ain't no way you're going to have any legitimate recovery efforts. Even before, if you got pushed wide, you can at least run the car out and you know, kind of keep your momentum a little bit. No, not anymore. Not going to happen. It's going to be awful. So a quick look at the Euros results of today. Obviously, if you're of the European sort, which I assume you are, you will have absolutely known what's happened today, but we'll go over it anyways. So, today, we did have Slovenia and Serbia tie 1-1. We had England and Denmark tie 1-1. A little bit of a surprise to me. I thought England would have come out swinging a little bit more in that fixture. We've got Spain and Italy 0-0 at halftime. Tomorrow's games go as Slovakia facing Ukraine, Poland, and Austria. Should be a fun one, that. And then the Netherlands and France. That is going to be game of the day by far. Really looking forward to that fixture there. Fantastic game yesterday, as I was saying earlier, between the Croatians and the Albanians. But our formation lap on the way now. And we'll have a look now at what our tire choices are. English is apparently not my first language, as it turns out. So, looks at the majority of the grid. Well, I'd say majority, it's about an even split, isn't it? We've got positions 3 through 8 on the mediums. We've got the top 2 on the softs. That'll be interesting to see, considering, obviously, they're going to be level pegging off the line here. That might be fun. Pair of the Red Bulls in the same strategy. That could get interesting. Shabs on the mediums, surrounded by a group of guys on the softs. Savvy and Hellions both gone to the softs. Golden Wolf to the mediums. Dunda and Doug both on the softs. There's your strategy there. 10 to 14. Not a very... I don't want to say not a very high degradation track, because that's not necessarily true. I think the lap count is a little bit... It's a little bit confusing, that, considering that there's only, 22 laps to this race here. So when you see soft tires going 14 laps through, that's about the equivalent of like 9 or 10 on another circuit. I mean, this track, not necessarily high degradation. The softs and the mediums, the delta between the two, not that high. It's high enough in the beginning of the stints here, but as you get, kind of five laps in here, they both really start to deteriorate at kind of the same rate. But it is Little Jim leading us off the line here, followed by Jag Greg immediately to his side. That should be a fun one there into the La Source corner. That's since been made all gravel on the outside of it. That is going to be absolute carnage. Only one driver has decided to go hard today. It's going to be that of CRL Spider, starting in the 17th spot. Interesting to see if the hard tires are going to be able to hold up here and, kind of work their way into being a usable tire. Just waiting for Lil Jim to lead the parade back round here to the grid. The spot track has undergone some massive changes in recent years, all dedicated to the safety of the drivers. The top of Val Rouge and Radion has been, widened quite significantly. As I've mentioned, the first corner, La Source, has been turned into gravel more than anything else. I believe they did some work to actually this chicane in particular quite recently. I don't know what it was necessarily, but it's been changed. We've got plenty of runoff now with all the Circuit Paul Ricard type paint on the side of it. That's the only other way I can describe that, to be honest with you. Ketchup and mustard lines, to be right. Little Jim will have the inside line here. Different to most of the circuits that we go to. Typically, the top spot will have the outside lane into the first corner. That's not the case here at Spa. It's the inside with definitely an advantage, I would say, as we just wait for... Who's that? With the Aston Martin of Golden Wolf. He had a group of drivers in the middle who couldn't find the grid correctly. And here we go. Lights turning on here, the first round for F1 24 in the JAG Thursday Championship, and we are away. Lil Jim does get a good run off the line. We got a Ferrari already around at the back. Lil Jim will cover the Haas before they get to the first corner. Jag Greg now has to deal with Justerini to the inside there as they exit the first corner. Everybody looks okay. That Ferrari of Doug at the back, I do not know what happened with him. He went around almost immediately, and now we have an Alpine of Smale who's gone around and lost a bit of the front wing. Up through Rougenat and Radion they go. This is going to be interesting here to see who uses the battery more going down the Kemmel Straight. We've got Jag Greg probably trying to have a look to the inside. Lord Allen looks as if he's gotten around Justerini. Yes, he has. Parker and Lewis side by side at the back. We've also got Mikey and Lee side by side. Looks as if Mikey is overtaken at least the stake there. Perhaps maybe his teammate as well. Side by side, they go down into Brussels. And behind it nearly looked as if it was three abreast. But for the time being, everybody's gotten away relatively okay. We have had a couple of cars go around to the back, more specifically the Ferrari of Doug. We've had Smale go around, and I believe... No, that's about it, actually. Everything else looks okay. Lil Jim under a lot of pressure now from Jag Greg. The battle in which we expected to be very close off the line was that of the Williams. Oh, but he's lost the car really there. Nearly losing it coming off of the curb. That was very dangerous for Lil Jim, and now, has he perhaps lost some momentum, and will Jag Greg be able to overtake? Not only has he lost momentum, now he's got a mistake in his fresh memory. Those mistakes do pile on. This is going to be very interesting here. Jag Greg really following him close through Blanchimont. Let's see, is he going to choose the left side? No, he's not going to choose either side to be right with you. He's going to hang right in at the back of that Williams car. Maybe will he get him down the source? Remember, now new for this year, DRS activated after the first lap of the Grand Prix, so we'll have that now. Parker has gotten around Lewis, and Lewis, I believe that's a 10-second penalty. Was that for corner cutting? Yes, it was. It must have been 10 seconds to the name of Lewis. DRS activated now. They'll have it going down the Kemmel Straight here shortly. Up the hill through Al Rouge and Radion they go. Oh, Jag Greg's gone quite wide there, but I think maybe has he gained a little bit more momentum. Here he goes down the right side, and Jag Greg's going to take the lead of this Grand Prix here relatively easily with the aid of DRS. Ali trying to look around the Red Bull of Mikey, but he's not going to have it. Lewis follows in behind despite having the 10-second penalty. Perhaps can he get that taken off in pit stops? I don't know. I'm not sure you can get the whole 10 taken off. I could be wrong. At the back of this train here is the Mercedes of Adonis, who, remember, was disqualified in the qualifying session for going the wrong way. He's up 9 positions so far. Matter of fact, RLS Marcus has gone up 7 positions as well, respectively. So, some big movers here in the midfield. Obviously, Smale lost the car coming out of La Source. Oh, that was a good save there from Adonis. That one got close. Wow, that one was ridiculous to being disasterful for the Mercedes there. But as they exit Stavolo, then it looks as if everybody's still okay. Jag Greg, for the time being, has put about a second behind. To that of Lil Jim, yeah, 1.2, so he is already outside of DRS range. Got Mikey. Oh, Mikey's going to try one of the inside of the V-carb of Parker here. Does he get it? Yes, he does. Jag Greg goes fastest lap. Parker in behind. May have a look here shortly at the Red Bull. He's not all that far away, although I do believe, as Lord Allen and Little Jim's switching positions here. Oh, Jim is well out of shape, exiting the curbs over La Source. Well, I tell you what, he's at least kept the car straight and on track, but I tell you what, he did a bit of off-roading there coming out of La Source, and he has lost a spot to Lord Allen. He will have DRS, but Justarini's going to get down his inside here, considering he's got more momentum. As, oh, that was a double overtake there from Ali. He's gotten around Parker, who has gotten around Mikey, and I think Lewis as well. A lot of changes there in the midfield. I'm actually going to... Can I get rid of the graphics real quick? This is looking fantastic here. As they make their way down into Brussels, it is the Red Bull of Mikey, followed by Lewis, followed by Marcus and Adonis, as we have a yellow flag somewhere, temporarily. It says Sector 3, perhaps is it just Smale pulling his way off track? It could be that. Wish there was a way for me to adjust the graphics in the OSD customization, especially in the broadcast menu, because right now we have, like, nothing. I mean, that... I don't know. Jag Greg ahead by 2 seconds over Lord Alum. Remember, Lord Alum took the second spot from Lil Jim after Lil Jim nearly lost the car coming out of La Source. He's since lost the spot to Justerini as well. That was going down the Kemmel Straight. Very close here. Everybody within positions 3 through 10, within a couple of tenths of each other. Justerini is going to try the left side on Lord Alum here. Does he get a little bit of contact on the way out? I don't think anything really to raise hairs, but that one was certainly noticeable. Into La Source, like, oh, what a dive from Lil Jim! He's gotten into the stake. I tell you what, Lil Jim, that was either a massive lockup or he has really tried his hand there. And, I tell you what, he's not necessarily lost anything out of it. I'm hoping Justerini's not picked up any rear wing damage. I'm hoping Lil Jim didn't pick up any front wing damage. DRS being available from lap 2 really helps the field. I tell you what, for the time being, it certainly appears that way. In through La Source they go. Lord Alum still ahead. It looks like we got some positions going on at the back. 3-second warning, 3-second penalty for Doug. I think maybe took a trip the wrong way through. Oh, and we got a multiple car accident here. How did I miss this? We've got Shabs. We've got Hellion off at the back. Front wing missing from the Mercedes. That one suddenly came out of the blue, really, going through Lacombe. That part of the track always claiming cars. And to your point, yeah, we are still... I mean, by this point, usually in the Grand Prix, we're looking at this field being quite spread. That's not the case. We've got a lot of drivers still within range of each other, and the only ones that aren't in that position is because they've made some sort of error, as we are seeing. About to begin the 5th lap of the Grand Prix here shortly. Jag Greg, 3.5, nearly 4 seconds clear of Lord Alum. And I'm actually a little surprised that McLaren has held on as well as he has with not having DRS here. But here's Justerini, as I say that, to the left side, even without DRS, may have the position here going through the final chicane. They're going to be side by side. Looks as if Alum's going to keep the outside line. Behind them, Little Jim and Ali battling here, and Ali almost had something on the Williams, perhaps to get himself into a battle with his teammate. Matter of fact, there goes Little Jim to the inside. Remember, that was nearly catastrophic last time we went around with Little Jim careening into the back right tire of Justerini and Lord Alum, as Hellion's got 3 seconds for multiple warnings, and when you've not got a bit of your front wing there, that will happen. Adonis now will have DRS to Lewis. Lewis, remember, has a 10-second penalty. I'm assuming it said corner cutting when that penalty was given. For what corner he cut, we're not sure. Maybe it was their contact, and he missed the final chicane there. That would be my guess as to what had happened with him, but we still don't know what's happened there. Hate to say it already, but we're getting closer to nearly halfway through this Grand Prix. It's been very fast-paced. Only a couple of incidents here. No safety car yet to be had. Got a 10th of a second between Ali and Little Jim here, as Little Jim's going to go over the outside through Puhan. He's going to pick up a 3-second time penalty, I'm afraid. And as these cars start to wear on the tires, you're going to see understeer be more common. Mikey G's gone into the gravel, actually, that time. Kind of bottoming out on the curb on the outside. That one has gotten very close to being destructive for him. He's actually got Marcus right behind him here. As Lewis is actually going to get around Adonis coming out of Stavilo. We've got Ali, then 0.2 of a second here on Lil Jim. Justerini, for the time being, was actually within about 0.5 on Lord Alum, but wasn't close enough to make it happen. Here goes Ali to the inside now, and actually, as it turns out, the Williams is being helped along by Ali's teammate of Justerini here. Justerini did not break the toe, so the Williams behind him, that has to be said. I think that might be the reason why the Williams stayed ahead, but now it's side by side. There was a lot of contact there between Mikey and Ali. I think more or less just getting squirrely coming off the corner. Maybe side by side now between the V-carb of Parker and Marcus. No, it doesn't look like they're going to battle that way that time. Although now here goes Ali to the inside of Lil Jim. He'll have that one easily enough with DRS activated. So now both the stakes have moved up to 3rd and 4th. Lil Jim still in position, though. We have yet to see our first round of pit stops here, unless you've had some sort of wing damage. About an even split between those and the softs and mediums. Can't really tell which are the quicker tires for the time being. I'm assuming It's going to keep going in the way of the mediums, but the soft driver still holding on relatively well, I think. Yeah, just about. I mean, nothing really of note as far as that. 10th and a second here between Marcus and Mikey to the inside. Perhaps contact being made there. Marcus will get down to the inside of Mikey and get that 6th spot. That looked a good move, how clean it was. Had a little bit of lag and glitching going on there, couldn't really tell, but now it's Lewis. Oh, as Marcus has gone around, exiting Stavilo, and he's... I tell you what, thank goodness ghosting is on, because he's backed into oncoming traffic there. Anyways, so Elise picked up 3 seconds for multiple warnings. Where's he gotten that? That must have been going through Blanchemont. Maybe he's gone too far on the outside. It could happen. Parker with Mikey to his right side as well now as the Alpine of Lewis trying it around the outside here. This one's very close indeed between that. And I tell you what, Parker losing spots now. Although maybe will he have a look to the inside. Who will have a look is that of Lewis going down the inside on Mikey. Lewis has actually picked up the 3 seconds of multiple warnings, taking too much of the curve on the inside of Stavilo. Could even be side by side going up the hill here. That one's going to be close, but it does appear Lewis will get ahead and stay ahead for the time being. We do have now changing of the guards perhaps between the 2 stake drivers. We do have Savvy with a 3-second penalty. Mikey's been overtaken twice. 3rd time almost as he's side by side with Adonis now, and Adonis will get around Mikey. Mikey's lost 3 spots there in the matter of just a couple of 100 meters. We got Shabs and Dunda back here. Looks like the McLaren has cleared the Haas for the time being. Mikey still within a couple of tenths of Adonis here. Adonis starting to fall off the back of Lewis and Parker's battle going on. We do still have the 2 stake drivers here. They exchanged positions going down the Kemmel Straight. I'm wondering if perhaps do we see them switch again. No, it looks as if racing is the answer here between the 2. That one getting very dicey indeed. Lil Jim at the back of this hoping that the 2 black and green machines ahead of him make some sort of error. Getting very dicey either way. I will say this, though. Jag Greg has actually lost about 0.6 of a second back to Lord Alum here. Matter of fact, the stakes will actually invert positions once again. Whether that was by design or they are actually racing here. Tell you what, they might actually be racing, tell you what. Lewis getting around Parker, coming out of the final corner. Little Jim and Elise side by side now exiting La Source. Very close indeed. Little Jim will get down to the inside and will keep that spot. What was interesting of note is I think that Jag Greg being on the soft tires was initially losing time to Alum, but I think Alum's actually made a mistake somewhere along the line as Ali goes into the grass there. To the inside is Lil Jim. Parker getting around Lewis. CRL Spider getting around Savvy. It has to be said, where the stakes could have just been alright and held position with each other, they would have had at least one of them on the podium. Now both of them outside the top 3 spots. Lewis still on his 13 seconds of penalty, but not driving like he knows that. That's for sure. So since the 2 stake drivers have begun to battle here... Oh, that was a big slide from Ali. He's caught it. But since they've began battling, they've lost about 2.5 seconds back to Lil Jim. Remember, those 3 cars were right close to each other. Not the case anymore. Lewis on Mikey. Or Lewis versus Mikey here. Trying to get to the back end of the V-car with Parker and perhaps make something happen for the 6th spot. We've got Justerini now trying to get around the outside of Lil Jim, and I was a little surprised there. I was just done talking about how they weren't all that close to each other. Now they are. And Justerini's gotten the spot, but we'll have to wait and see if he holds on to it here. Coming out of the chicane. Lewis has 2/10 on Parker. He's going to try it to the inside. He's actually going to be gotten by Mikey here. 3 abreast going into La Source. And is the Red Bull of Mikey going to get it? Oh, I tell you what, that looked right close there. And still, side by side, going up through Rouge and Radion. That one, well, I'm glad they sorted that out, because that was going to be disasterful if they didn't. And Adonis gets out of shape. Going up the hill, he'll have Lewis to his inside, and Lewis is going to get the spot here with the aid of DRS. As Mikey's going to try it around the outside of Parker. Does he get it? Through the inside, through Lacombe here as they go through Malmedy, still side by side, and I think maybe was there... Well, I don't even know what's happening anymore. Perhaps some connection issues? Question mark with Mikey? That one. Ew. Anyways. Two stakes now, getting relatively close to each other here, going through the double F to Puhan. That one's always going to be risky. To have as well, Lil Jim trying his best to hold off these couple of spots here. Mikey and Parker have exchanged pleasantries once more, and Mikey will get around the V-carb in question. Exiting Campus and Stavilo now. I can fully expect that we're going to see another overtake here shortly. Parker looks as if he's going to try to find something on Mikey. Matter of fact, Justerini around the right side on Lil Jim. Gets that third spot back. Great battle here going on for third. Now, since we last checked in with that of Jag Greg atop the table, he's now lost an additional 0.5 of a second. We do now have drivers coming into the pit lane here, both of which have been on the soft tires. We can assume they're going to be going probably to the hards here, maybe the mediums. Hellion has picked up a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. It's going to be the mediums of that for Adonis. His counterpart there of Mikey's also gone to the mediums. Dunda into the pit lane. We're going to assume mediums for him as well. And we'll go back along with Lil Jim and Justerini here as Lil Jim's gotten the spot back going into Lacombe. That looked a very close one. Parker and Lewis side by side now, heading through Lacombe and eventually Malmedy. Still the Alpine on that left side, and the V-carb of Parker will get that spot for the time being, but they're going to be side by side again here. Lewis trying to hang it around the outside through Brussels. Whew, that one got close. And Parker's going to lose that spot again, and now here we go. The two stakes battling it out, going through Puan. How are they doing this? This is getting so risky here. Why can't they just sort it out? I mean, it's contact between the teammates here. Justerini doesn't have penalty. Why isn't Ali letting him ahead? There he goes. Justarini's going to go off track, and now Ali's going to go back to the inside. And why are they battling this hard? And look at this, contact perhaps. Ali really had to get that car back down there because he was heading to the inside wall if he didn't. Goodness me. Round one of the season, we already have dueling teammates here between the two stakes. As now we do have Jag Greg entering the pit lane. We do have... Well, I guess the official name is probably Sauber, perhaps. Sauber F1 Team Kickstake or something stupid like that. You got 75 names to try to choose from. It is to the medium tires for Jag Gregs. I suppose I'll just call them the Saubers from now on. I don't even know. So we have a yellow flag somewhere along the line. It says through Sector 3. As we do have the Saubers battle once more. We've got Cyril, Spider, and Shavs trading positions there, going up through Rouge and Radion. It looks as if Spider may not be able to hold on to the spot. I think Shavs has gotten away much better going up the hill. And DRS activated for the McLaren as well. Lewis up to 16 seconds in penalty. To the inside is Shavs. He's going to have that one relatively easily, it seems. As we're about halfway through this Grand Prix here. Still no safety car or virtual safety car for that matter. It's been a very clean race. Despite a couple of incidents here and there. Spider's now going to try it around the outside on Lil Jim. The Williams is going to be able to hold on to the spot. The hell? Anyways. Spider looking on here, hoping that Shabs and Jim make some sort of error that will allow him to get into the 7th spot here. Jag Greg has fallen to the 6th spot after having pit. I'm just wondering, when are we going to see those in the mediums decide to make their stop? I mean, Jag Greg was losing time, but it wasn't ridiculous. He lost about a 0.5 of a second. Or not even 0.5, about half a second a couple of laps ago, but then immediately kind of held on to that gap. But what we are seeing now is Lord Allen into the pit lane. Race leader on the way in. The pair of the Saubers decide to stay out, and they're still going to battle each other here. Lord Alum in. We can assume he's going to be going to the softs. I think. Yep, soft tires for him. So he is only just the first driver choosing to pit here from the medium tires. Lord Alum by himself on that pit stop, although Lil Jim pit recently. The top four still have yet to stop. As we have now again a duel between the two Saubers here. These guys have been battling back and forth, and I don't know why they're going at it this hard between each other, really. If anything, they're hurting their chances at getting podiums and getting good results by battling, because somebody's going to make a mistake, somebody's going to end up in the barrier, and then that's going to result in somebody leaving the Discord. I mean, that's usually how these things turn out. I've been through it myself. Still 0.3 of a second here between the two Saubers. We've got Jag Greg trying to move in on position of the Alpine of that of Lewis. By the way, Lewis still on 16 seconds worth of penalty. Although Lewis doing very well. I'd say what the pace that Lewis is showing, usually he gets 10 seconds of penalty, and I think what Lewis is probably thinking here is that he could probably get that 3 seconds removed, 10 seconds removed. Speaking of 3 seconds, inadvertently, at least picked up an additional 3, puts him up to 6. Mikey and Spider trading positions now. That has to be the reason why Lewis is still trying this hard. He has to have a case, perhaps, of that 10-second penalty that he's picked up really early on as well, getting removed, and I think that would help him tremendously. Jag Greg will try the outside of Blanchimont here. He's actually going to hold that spot, and Lewis will, I think, kind of cede the position to him there. Jag Greg really in the hunt for the lead in the win of this Grand Prix. That will not come by battling Lewis. Parker into the pit lane now. The pair of the Saubers stay out one more time. We're going to assume probably be in at the end of this lap. Lord Alum to the back of Jag Greg. It's about 2 seconds here. Little Jim stays out as well. We got a lot of cars entering the pit lane now. We do have a couple of battles happening on the front stretch here. Shabs and Mikey still battling. Adonis wants in on this, but he's not quite close enough to make something happen. We do have Hellion and Golden Wolf battling here, exiting Campus and Stavilo. We got Marcus and Lewis. Well, Lewis is in the pit lane. That'd be why that spot got taken. Williams of Savvy and Spider as well making their way out. Spider may come out side by side here with Dunda. Marcus has picked up 3 seconds from multiple warnings. Mikey has gotten around Shabs there going through Lacombe. And now still the battle, though, between the two Saubers. Starting into a situation where I'm not too sure why they're fighting each other this hard. They've only got an 8.5 second advantage over Jag Greg. I mean, the pit lane isn't too long here. It's not like an Imola pit lane where you are really losing time. You're losing about, 35, almost 40 seconds of your time. That's not the case here. Still 0.4 of a second between the two. 6 seconds of penalty for Lee. Shabs within a second of Adonis here. One of the closer battles on track that we now do have. We've got Golden Wolf within 0.6 of a second here. Oh, and what's this? Well, we do have Ali staying out. Justerini coming in with a yellow flag. Now, we were on with Doug here, and we didn't see what happened. We were more interested in what was happening at the top of the table. Apologies to Doug, but Doug's gone straight on then. Going through Lacombe. He's hit the barrier somewhere. He has lost the end plate on the left front side. Hellion with a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. We've got Mikey and Jim and Lord Alum all moving up the table now. My question's going to be this. Jag Greg, is he closing in enough on Ali? Or is Lord Alum getting him faster? That's the question, because it is only about, as you can see, 1.25 seconds between Alum and Greg. I tell you what, if Greg puts together a couple of shoddy laps here, we may see that McLaren take the spot, and the McLaren's going to have to go now, considering that he's on the soft tires. Those are only going to be good for the first couple of laps here, and then the mediums are going to take over. And, oh, well, there goes Jag Greg spinning away. We'll talk about mistakes and shoddy laps. Well, there you go. Lord Alum up to the 2nd spot. Lil Jim to 3rd. Greg falls to 4th. After the spin going through Buhan, now down to 5th as Mikey gets around him. And in the day that you really thought Jag Greg was going to walk away with this win comfortably, now, suddenly, doesn't appear to be the case. Marcus has picked up 3 seconds for multiple warnings. We got a yellow flag going down the pit straight. That's out of Doug retiring in the pit lane. Jag Greg within a couple of tenths of Mikey here. May try it to the left side. No, not quite. Still within a tenth now. He'll try it on the left side now. Oh, I tell you what, big lockup on the back end there for Jag Greg. Nearly went straight into the side of the Red Bull. We've got Ali into the pit lane. Soft tires going on for the Sauber. Good battle going on here between Jag Greg and Mikey as they're going to be going up the hill through Al Rouge and Radillon. Oh, I tell you what, Jag Greg's gotten away much better, and he'll be off to the inside. And with the aid of DRS, yep, he'll be having that. Justarini's going to have it as well. I tell you what, if Justarini can manage to get around Jag Greg, chooses not to go for the Haas as well. Oh, I tell you what, nearly gets into the back end of the Haas there. That one was close. Rides the curb on the exit of Malmedy and still stays behind Jag Greg. Lord Allam has 3.5 seconds back to Lil Jim. I don't suppose that one's going to be taken unless... Does Allam make a mistake, or does Lil Jim have a case perhaps for that 3-second penalty getting removed? I don't even know. That McLaren in a great spot now. He's rather inherited the top spot. He's not taken it from Jag Greg as much as Jag Greg's given it away, but, you know, that sort of thing does happen. Fairness to Jag Greg, I think, despite that mistake, if he walks away with a podium, that'll be a halfway decent result. I think, you know, if he does lose out on a podium here, Jag Greg, which it certainly looks like he could, Justarini is going for him here. Blanchimont they go. Justarini really had to lift as Jag Greg didn't choose to defend either side. Adonis will get around Mikey here into the chicane. Still side by side. Yep, nearly contact being made. Nothing quite. Let's see how well Jag Greg will be able to defend his podium here. Remember, he's going to be on the medium tires. Justarini obviously is going to be having the advantage, at least in the early days of the tire lifespan, although that was nearly catastrophic. He had really gotten onto the curve on the outside and nearly lost the car on throttle input, but let's see now. And Jag Greg now. 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. You saw that one. And now Justarini to the left side. And the Sauber will take the 3rd spot. As now Mikey and Adonis side by side. Mikey's going to get round that left side and take 5th away from the Mercedes. Adonis in close pursuit of Mikey now. As they make their way through Speaker's Corner. Tell you what, Mikey's car, I don't know if that's my screen or his, but that car is quite bouncing all over the track. Jag Greg within a half a second here, Justarini, and although I don't really think he's going to be close enough to make anything happen for the time being, still one of our closest battles on track. Not to mention Ali trying to work his way into the top 5 picture here. He's got 6 seconds in penalty, but a couple of drivers ahead of him also have some penalty time, so maybe he could find his way in. Big slide for Adonis coming out of Stavilo. Still trying to wear down the Mercedes here of Adonis is that of Ali. Bit of a lockup on the way into the braking zone. Still in the soft tires as Parker behind will get 3 seconds of multiple warnings. He's done that all by himself going through Blanchimont, and now it really is going to depend on who gets and who doesn't get penalties here. Because people like Justarini, if he gets within any sort of striking distance on Lil Jim, he may even get that 2nd spot. Although Jag Greg wants in on that battle as well. DRS will go the way of the Haas here. Behind Adonis, right up against the back end of Mikey. He's going to try the left side, and it looks as if the Mercedes is going to get it. Oh, but look at this, Ali through the middle and a double overtake for the Sauber of Ali. That was fantastic, and speaking of Sauber overtaking, Jag Greg does get around Justarini. But Ali, what a move that was. Saw the gap in the middle, decided to go for it. Made Ayrton Senna proud with that one, I'm sure. Although I think Ayrton Senna would be quite baffled with the idea of an internet and sim racing. Like, anyways, I'm getting off topic. Anyways, so the battle now between Lord Alum and Lil Jim has kind of gotten within about a second and a half here. Lil Jim actually putting in some fantastic laps, and as we kind of expected with the tire fall off from the soft tires, that's where Lord Alum is currently at. He's lost an additional about 0.2 of a second just on this lap alone from when I began this sentence. He is really losing time here. Although I don't believe he's going to be in a position to actually lose the win of the Grand Prix unless, as Lil Jim starts to really cook ahead of him, when Lil Jim does get around Lord Alum here. Oh, I tell you what, Justerini nearly got into the back end of Jag Greg, and he's taken too much of the sausage curve on the inside, and Justerini will fall now behind both his teammate and the Mercedes of Adonis, and now the Red Bull of Mikey as well. So Justerini, one mistake, puts him back to 7th. Up the hill through Eau Rouge and Radion, we do have Cyril Spider with another 3-second time penalty. Well, actually, that's only his first. I say another. Another as in the group in general. Justerini now to the inside of Mikey. He'll have that one easily. He may get Adonis here as well. Well, I think if he... Well, he's still there. Don't be too quick to disapprove of his efforts. Yeah, I tell you what, Justerini's done him well. I really thought that Justerini didn't commit to making that move past Adonis, and he's done just that. But Adonis still right here, really along the rear wing of Justerini. That one's going to get close as Lord Alum, a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. So now, Alum does not have the comfort of having a penalty anymore, of not having a penalty. He needs to stay within this battle of Lil Jim. As a matter of fact, for Lil Jim, it's all even Stevens, all to play for now. Between the two atop the grid. Both of them on penalties. This is pure battle for position. As Hellion, a 3-second penalty for him. That puts him at 12 seconds, I'm afraid. Savvy with a 3-second penalty as well. 0.2 of a second now for the battle for the lead. As we're about to begin the 19th lap of this Grand Prix. We'll have 4 laps to go this next time by. No safety car, no virtual safety car. It's been a very clean, very fast-paced race so far today. Although I wouldn't put it past the talent and the oftentimes craziness of the JAG Thursday grid here to give us some sort of excitement at the end of this. Matter of fact, I tell you what, Lil Jim could very well get Lord Alum this time. Exiting Eau Rouge and Radion now, as we do have a yellow flag. It's the Red Bull of Rees at the back, I think. Is that a mistake there on the way into campus? But around the outside is Lil Jim for the lead of the race. Still side by side now. Contact being made through Lacombe. Contact again, now through Malmedy. And the McLaren of Lord Alum will stay to the inside and somehow keep the lead. Adonis getting around Mikey there through Lacombe. That one got close. Wondering what happened with Rees there. Did he hit anything? No, doesn't appear so. Lil Jim, 0.3 of a second away from the lead of the Grand Prix, which I think is certainly coming his way if he just holds on, doesn't pick up any more penalties, and doesn't lose on position. Dunda has picked up a 3-second penalty here. Only just Justerini, Adonis, and Mikey, and Golden Wolf, for that matter, without penalty. Exiting Stavilo now. A quarter of a second here between the top two. As next time by, we'll have 3 laps to go here in the Belgian Grand Prix. What's been a fantastically action-packed Grand Prix this. Lil Jim now trying the left side, perhaps. No, he'll send him the dummy and go to the right side. Still to the right side now is Lil Jim. He'll have to switch back down to the inside as Alum goes the highway. And now Lil Jim is going to try the left side here on the way into campus. Or not campus, this is La Source. Tell you what, for Lil Jim, very nicely done. And perhaps Lord Alum won't be able to strike back here. He's on those soft tires unless Lil Jim makes a mistake. Of course, DRS is still in play here. I will tell you what, the McLaren looked better going up through Eau Rouge that time. 0.3 of a second, DRS activated. Hardly any battery left, but I think there's the momentum going to be enough. Lil Jim defends the inside, well, more the middle, more than anything else. Lord Allen staying right there, still not in position to make anything happen. Mikey and Adonis swap positions there. That puts the Red Bull up to 6. 0.2 of a second, and oh, by the way, cue the Jaws music here. Jag Greg is entering the picture for the win of this Grand Prix. Remember, Jag Greg spun at Puhan about midway through this race, only a couple of laps after his pit window, which relegated him down within the top 5. And here he is now, within position where he could get Lord Allen here. We'll have 2 laps to go next time by. The McLaren a bit of a wiggle that time. Lord Allen, I think, being on those soft tires kind of was a mistake. I think perhaps if he went to the hard, he wouldn't have had as much going for him initially in the stint, but he would have held on quite well for now. As Jag Greg takes the 2nd spot with 2 laps to go. As Giustirini picking up a 3-second penalty now. It's only just Mikey and Golden Wolf. And I tell you what, really big shame for Giustirini's spin there. But I tell you what, sometimes you push a little too hard like that and you get yourself in a position where you do make a mistake. Speaking of mistake, there's Jag Greg. I tell you what, that Haas all day long has been in positions where that back end of the car really wants to go around and get away from him. He's been close a couple of times, especially in the qualifying session as well. We saw that happen. The question is now, does Lord Allen have enough? He'll get past Jag Greg here with DRS, I'm certain of that. Perhaps, maybe only just. Yeah, there he goes. Okay, that one got scary a little bit, I'll be fair with you. Doesn't quite get back within DRS range of Lil Jim here. It's going to be very close. My question is going to be this. Will Lil Jim have a good enough lap here to keep the 2 at bay? It's going to be all depending on how he gets out of that first sector this next time by, going up the hill through Rouge and Radeon. If he doesn't do it well, then it will be all to play for between these 3. As Reed's going to pick up a 3-second penalty here. That'll put him up to 6. Spider, 3-second penalty. That puts him up to 6. Mikey may pick up a good fair amount of positions here. Although the next car is... Well, no, he'll be all right. Yeah, I tell you what, I thought it was the other way around. Yeah, I tell you what, Mikey's in a good spot. He may pick up at least 1 or 2 positions here. But now, out of Campus and Stavelo, heading down Blanchimont for the penultimate time now, Jag Greg will get around Lord Allen. That's key. And I think that's key for the reason of this. I think Jag Greg is probably a quicker car at this point, still for the time being, outside of DRS range. To Lil Jim behind. Lord Allen's going to try to send it now. This is a mistake from the McLaren here because this is hindering the performance of both these cars when now Lil Jim has a 2-second advantage entering the final lap of the Grand Prix. That was kind of a mistake there for Lord Allen. If he held on and chose to attack going down the Kemmel Straight, that would have been the better option. Not the choice by that of the McLaren driver. Out on the source for the final time. Allen and Greg got very close there. Contact was made, but nothing really of it then. Lil Jim, does he make it off the top of the corner well enough? Yes, he does. So now, does Lord Allen have it here? He's going to try the left-hand side. There he goes, and he'll have 2nd place. He's got some battery to try to defend that position with as well. That's huge for Lord Allen. Mikey getting around Adonis here. He's now 5.5 seconds behind that of Giustirini, so he's not going to improve to 5th. Maybe does Ali fall behind, and he does get 5th after all. That's going to be a close one. But Lil Jim making his way out of Speaker's Corner now for the final time. I tell you what, did get quite cloudy on that end of the racetrack. I'm a little surprised. Parker gets around Lewis there. I think Lewis maybe had a spin or something. He's come back on the track. It ghosted, hasn't he? We started this race at 3:30. It's only 4:42 at the moment. Jag Greg really looking forward on Lord Allen here on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Lil Jim gets out of Campus and Stavelo. All right, just Blanchimont and then the final chicane to go. The hard part of the day has been over for him. And Little Jim, well, I tell you what, a little bit of luck never hurt anybody. I tell you what, he's absolutely deserved the win here today. But it has to be said, starting on pole, losing the lead, getting it back. Lord Allen getting around Greg. It's going to be side by side at the line between these two. Lil Jim takes the win. But now, look at this, just a lead to the inside. 3 cars simultaneously cross the start-finish line there. Allen gets 2nd. Greg gets 3rd. Giustirini gets 4th. Ali 5th. Mikey 6. I tell you what a battle that was at the stripe that time. Coming out of the final corner now, Parker and that of Lewis side by side. I tell you what. Well, Parker's going to get the spot with the penalties. Lewis is going to be dropping, I'd assume, a couple of positions here with the penalties he's accumulated. Shabs, Savvy, Spider, Dunda, Hellion, and Reese. I tell you what, Reese has picked up a penalty then. A little bit of argy-bargy between these two. But the big story on the day, Lil Jim starts on pole. Jag Greg took the lead, didn't look back. Pitt spun out of position and worked his way to finish back to third. Has to be said, that was a very entertaining Grand Prix there from the Jag Thursday grid. And oh, by the way, look at this. 4 100ths between Jag, Greg, and Alum at the line. Well, I tell you what, Maple Ace, slightly ashamed I'm not going to be able to see you guys take on the Sunday grid, but should be a fantastic season for them nonetheless, and I hope that I can get back to commentating that as soon as I can, because I tell you what, been very fun times there. But is that a Lil Jim on the top step of the podium? What a way to start this Season 7 campaign. So, barring any steward reports, here's your final look of the land here. Lil Jim taking the win here. So after starting on pole, Lord Alum second, Jag Greg third, Justerini fourth, Ali fifth, Mikey sixth, Adonis seventh, Parker eighth, 9th Lewis, 10th Marcus, 11th is Shabs, 12th is Savvy, 13th is Spider, 14th Dunda, 15th Golden Wolf, 16th is Rees, 17th is Hellion, 18th Doug, and Smale at the back of the grid. Unfortunately, neither him nor Doug was able to finish the Grand Prix. Well, I tell you what, fantastic one that time out. And next week, we head to an even more overtake-friendly circuit, the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, Austria, which should be a fantastic second round of this season. Well, that's going to do it all for me. Very much appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for, well, I tell you what, the support that I've seen out of you guys. Very happy to be back on the call for some of these races here. Can't wait for this season.